The evil heroes are a fiend-based archetype that's primary tactic is to fusion summon using a corrupt version of polymerization known as dark fusion to deal with a variety of different situations that might come up. Nowadays, the evil heroes are classed as one of the sub-archetypes to the hero series, along with the elemental heroes, the destiny heroes, the masked heroes, the vision heroes, and the extra heroes. However, back in the day, these archetypes were all separate. But due to confusion over cards with hero in their names, Konami, in a sense of irony, pulled a real-world super polymerization on all of these archetypes by combining them all together into one super archetype by changing their names' text to hero in order to distinguish the heroes from the heroes. The evil heroes were first released in 2007's Gladiators Assault Pack, with more support arriving a year later in Duelist Pack Jaden Yuki 3. And as of most recently, after 10 years of stagnation, new support was finally released in 2019's Legendary Duelists Immortal Destiny. The archetype was originally used by Jaden Yuki from the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX series after he was corrupted in the alternate dimension and began taking on the persona of the Supreme King.
I used to duel for fun, but now I'm dueling to avenge what you did to my best friends! It's payback time!
I think it's important to note that the Supreme King, and by extension the evil heroes, are not actually truly evil, despite what their name suggests. For you see, the Supreme King emerged when Jaden awakened a power that had always lay dormant inside of him, known as the Gentle Darkness. While typically people associate good with light and bad with dark, in the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX series, light and dark represent chaos and order instead. In the GX lore, when the universe was created, it was split into light and dark. The light immediately began consuming the world, crashing into everything in its wake. The dark, however, filled the universe in order to break the spread of the light, allowing life a chance to grow and creating order. However, the power of the light proved to be too strong for the dark to keep at bay. So, an individual with the power to harness the dark and defeat the light emerged, known as the Supreme King. After his victory, in order to prevent the light's return, the Supreme King reincarnated himself throughout his future lineages, eventually being reincarnated as Jaden Yuki. However, as we saw in the anime, when he reawakened due to the extreme negative emotions Jaden felt at the time, he became a force of unwavering order, defeating any and all who opposed him. There was nothing gentle about this darkness, and thus his deck is made up of Jaden's heroes, now polluted by the influences of the Gentle Darkness, transforming their heroic forms into something more villainous. So, now we know a little bit more about the origins of the evil heroes, how about we take a look at each one and see what elemental hero they are a counterpart to, starting with the corrupted elemental heroes. When the evil heroes were created, they actually brought a handful of the original normal elemental heroes down to their level, altering their card art to make them look a little bit more sinister. These monsters were of course Elemental Hero Avion, Elemental Hero Bastinatrix, Elemental Hero Sparkman, and sadly only in the anime Elemental Hero Clayman. Konami, can we please have the evil Clayman, because it's just, we're missing it in the collection. We need it in the real world, please. But anyway, let's move on to the evil heroes. Evil Hero Infernal Prodigy, known in the Japanese as Evil Hero Hell Brat. Its effect is if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand in face-up attack position. During the end phase, if you tributed this card this turn to tribute summon a hero monster, draw one card. Infernal Prodigy is the evil version of the Elemental Hero support monster known as Hero Kid. The Japanese naming of this monster alludes more to this, as its name is essentially a bad-tempered kid, known as a brat. So this monster is basically Hero Kid if it was very naughty. Both monsters also share the same stats in terms of attack, defense, and level. And also, both of them have a special summon ability that is the opposite to each other. Hero Kid is able to special summon other copies of himself to the field, while Prodigy is able to special summon only himself to the field. Evil Hero Infernal Gainer, known in the Japanese as Evil Hero Hell Gainer. Its effect is, during your main phase 1, you can banish this card, then target one fiend-type monster you control. That target can make a second attack during each battle phase. During your second standby phase, after this effect was activated, special summon this banished card in a tap position. Out of the entire Evil Hero archetype, Infernal Gainer appears to be the only one that doesn't have a elemental hero counterpart. Though the lightning bolts on this card's design, along with his pose, make the monster give an almost Sparkman-like quality. However, the fact that Sparkman already has a dark art, and the fact that it doesn't actually have an effect, this could just mean that he is simply a completely new monster. However, if we're going to speculate, which we like to do, then Gainer could possibly be the evil hero counterpart to elemental hero Voltic. Though Voltic was released after Gainer, he does share an electric aura, a level of 4, and as well, both have an ability that references battling along with special summoning. Evil Hero Adusted Gold. His effect is you can discard this card, add 1 Dark Fusion or 1 card that specifically lists Dark Fusion in its text from your deck to your hand, except Evil Hero Adusted Gold. Can only use the effect of Evil Hero Adusted Gold once per turn. Cannot attack unless you control a fusion monster. Adusted Gold is of course the evil counterpart to elemental hero Captain Gold. Both are seen standing at the peak of their respective homes / field spells, albeit facing opposite directions to show their diverging paths in life. Captain Gold is atop Skyscraper, Adusted Gold is atop Supreme King's Castle, with what I quite like in the background, that looming comet going past him. Both also have identical stats in terms of attack, defense level and attribute, and even both share a search effect that adds something to the user's hand. And in fact, if we go a little bit further, elemental hero Captain Gold fits in the category of field spells searcher monsters, where they all have the field spell that they search in their card art, and they all are unable to attack unless that field spell is on the field. Adusted Gold, while it doesn't have this restriction in its card effect, it kind of actually does, as its ability to search for something that has Dark Fusion in its card text actually means that it can search for the field spell Supreme King Castle. And while it doesn't need Supreme King Castle to be on the field in order to use its ability, it still cannot attack unless you control a fusion monster, which still meets this criteria of effect. Evil Hero Sinister Necrom. Its effect is you can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon 1 Evil Hero monster from your hand or deck, except Evil Hero Sinister Necrom. You can only use this effect of Evil Hero Sinister Necrom once per turn. Sinister Necrom is the corrupt version of elemental hero Necroshade. They both share identical stats in all facets, albeit their typing. Both have almost identical looks, with the giant shoulder pauldrons and skeletal armor surrounding them being a dead giveaway of their similarities. And as both of their names allude toward, Necro means in Greek corpse or death. As such, both have abilities that do something in the graveyard. Sinister Necrom allows you to special summon, while Necroshade allows you to normal summon without a tribute. Evil Hero Malicious Edge. If your opponent controls a monster, you can tribute summon this card with 1 tribute. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. Malicious Edge is the evil counterpart to elemental hero Blade Edge. Just like all the others in the archetype, they both share identical stats in all areas apart from their typing. Both of these monsters also have completely identical effects, apart from the fact that Malicious Edge has an extra effect to get it out on the field easier. Evil Hero Inferno Wing. Requires elemental hero Avion and elemental hero Bastinatrix. Must be special summoned with Dark Fusion and cannot be special summoned by other ways. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. When this card destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to either the attack or defense, whichever is higher, of the destroyed monster in the grave. Inferno Wing is the evil counterpart to both elemental hero Flame Wingman and elemental hero Phoenix Enforcer. More specifically, based on the effect of this monster, it's clear Flame Wingman is its true counterpart, since both are able to deal damage based on the values of the monster it destroyed. However, just like all the evil heroes, Inferno Wing's effect is far superior to that of elemental hero Wingman's, even having an extra ability to deal piercing attacks. Now, it's interesting to note that through the use of polymerization on Avion and Bastinatrix, the result is Avion taking up the majority of the physical attributes of the new monster, whereas with Dark Fusion, Bastinatrix becomes the core instead. Now, I just want to make a quick comparison to Dragon Ball Z because I really like Dragon Ball Z, and this seems very akin. This is kind of like how Potara fusion works in that universe, where if the two subjects merging together are not equal, the more driven of the two becomes the core, e.g. with Old Kai and the Witch. Old Kai got the majority of the form, basically. So the point I'm trying to make is, maybe Avion was just more good than Bastinatrix, and thus the fusion affinity was more akin to him, and that is why he was made the core. Whereas while I do believe Bastinatrix was good, perhaps she had more of a viciousness to her character as well, and thus that is why Dark Fusion made her the core of the evil fusion counterpart. And I mean, it would fit her alignment with fire, it's like a fiery passion and everything, but hey, that's just a theory. Hey, Yu-Gi-Oh! Theory, god damn it, I keep doing that. I'm so sorry, Matt Pat, I don't know why I keep doing it. It's just so addictive to say. Also, it's worth noting in the international release of this monster, her artwork's bust size was reduced in order to avoid any sexual suggestions. Evil Hero Lightning Golem requires Elemental Hero Sparkman and Elemental Hero Clayman. Must be special summoned with Dark Fusion and cannot be special summoned by other ways. Once per turn, you can target one monster on the field, destroy that target. Lightning Golem is the evil counterpart to Elemental Hero Thunder Giant. I'm sure you've noticed the trend by now, but they both share identical stats, apart from their typing. However, in terms of Lightning Golem's effects, it is not subtle in terms of how much better it is. It is straight up a fully superior version to that of Thunder Giant's effect. Since it can now use its effect without paying a cost, there isn't a limit to what can be targeted, and the card no longer even needs to be face up on the field for it to work. So, a very nice upgrade there. Evil Hero Infernal Sniper, known in the Japanese as Evil Hero Hell Sniper. Requires Elemental Hero Clayman and Elemental Hero Bastinatrix, must be special summoned with Dark Fusion and cannot be special summoned by other ways. This card cannot be destroyed by spell cards. During each of your standby phases, inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. This card must be in face-up defense position to activate and to resolve this effect. The evil counterpart to Elemental Hero Rampart Blaster. They share identical stats, of course, and let's be honest with ourselves, if you were using Rampart Blaster in your Elemental Hero deck, most likely it wasn't due to its amazing effect, but more likely out of a courtesy to creating a anime faithful hero deck. Yeah, Rampart Blaster doesn't have a very good ability, so when the evil takes over and Infernal Sniper is born, we can see a big upgrade. Rampart had many restrictions on her ability on when you could attack with her, and even when you did, the battle damage was halved. Sniper simply asks that you leave her as she is in defense position, keeping you safe, and every turn she'll burn the opponent for 1000 damage, Lava Golem style. So yeah, and the fact that she has protection against spell cards, it's the little things in life, you know? Also, continuing with my theory on who gets the core of the fusion with Evil Fusion, the fact that Bastinatrix might have a little tiny bit of evil inside of her. Again, Evil Hero Infernal Sniper took on the majority of Elemental Hero Bastinatrix's form, making her more the core of this one, as opposed to, well, in the other one, it seemed more that Clayman was the core of that one. There's very little Bastinatrix in her. So yeah, I kind of think this solidifies my theory. Evil Hero Wild Cyclone. Requires Elemental Hero Avion and Elemental Hero Wildheart. Must be special summoned with Dark Fusion and cannot be special summoned by other ways. If this card attacks your opponent, cannot activate any spell or trap cards until the end of the damage step. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, destroy all face down spell and trap cards your opponent controls. This card is of course the evil counterpart to Elemental Hero Wild Wingman. They share identical stats and they both have abilities that allow them to destroy spell and trap cards. However, of course, Wild Cyclone is superior. Evil Hero Malicious Fiend, known in the Japanese as Evil Hero Malicious Devil. Requires Evil Hero Malicious Edge and one level 6 or higher Fiend type monster. Must be special summoned with Dark Fusion and cannot be special summoned by other ways. During your opponent's battle phase, all monsters they control are changed to face up attack position, and each monster they control must attack this card if able. Malicious Fiend seems to be the evil counterpart to that of Elemental Hero Wild Edge. While they don't share identical attack and defense points, and in fact, Evil Hero Malicious Edge is the highest original attack of all the hero monsters, it is in their effect that gives away their similarity, as Elemental Hero Wild Edge is able to attack all monsters your opponent controls, whereas Evil Hero Malicious Edge forces all of the opponent's monsters to attack into this monster instead. Evil Hero Gaia. Requires 1 Fiend type monster and 1 Rock type monster. Must be special summoned with Dark Fusion and cannot be special summoned by other ways. The original attack of this card is equal to the combined original attack of the fusion material monsters used to fusion summon it. When this card declares an attack, you can change all defense position monsters your opponent controls to face up attack position. Flip effects are not activated this time. Gaia is the evil counterpart to Elemental Hero Gaia. This is made most obvious by the fact that both of them share Gaia in their card names, with Gaia meaning Earth. They also both have abilities that allow them to boost their attack points. And for a bit of fun, if you've ever wondered what the highest attack power Evil Hero Dark Gaia can get to is, well, if you combine the monsters Valkyrian the Magna Warrior and Dystopia the Despondent together, you get a monster with 8,500 attack. So yeah, that's really strong. Evil Hero Malicious Bane. Requires 1 Evil Hero monster and 1 level 5 or higher monster. Must be special summoned with Dark Fusion. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. During your main phase, you can destroy all monsters your opponent controls with attack less than or equal to this card's. Also, this card gains 200 attack for each monster destroyed this way. You cannot declare an attack for the rest of this turn, except with hero monsters. You can only use the effect of Evil Hero Malicious Bane once per turn. Malicious Bane appears to be less of a counterpart to an existing Elemental Hero monster, but more possibly a representation of the pinnacle of the evil heroes merging together. For you see, its design seems to borrow from all of the evil heroes in the archetype so far. With claws from Malicious Edge, skeletal armor from Sinister Necrom, its head from Infernal Gainer, and many other references. It just seems to be them all combined. And as the newest member of the archetype, it actually gains all the benefits of what is needed from a modern day boss monster to survive in the current metas of today. It has destruction protection from battles and card effects, a powerful ability that both hinders the opponent and increases the user's attack power, and most importantly, it has a hard once per turn to stop it from being spammed and essentially getting banned. Overall, this is a great addition to the Evil Hero archetype and would hopefully make even the Supreme King proud of the modern day evil heroes. Supreme King's Castle. You can fusion summon fusion monsters that must be special summoned with Dark Fusion with effects other than Dark Fusion. Once per turn during damage calculation, if your Fiend monster battles an opponent's monster, you can send 1 Evil Hero monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. Your monster gains attack equal to the level of the monster sent to the graveyard times 200 until the end of this turn, even if this card leaves the field. Supreme King's Castle is a new card to the archetype, but is one that was very much needed. Why is that? Well, 1, because the deck definitely needed some fresh new cards to even give them a chance to be more consistent. But second, and most importantly, the signature card of the Supreme King and all of the evil heroes really is Super Polymerization, a card that was able to merge monsters from either side of the field and was virtually unable to be countered in any way. However, sadly, with the evil heroes requiring specifically Dark Fusion in order to be summoned, it looked like Konami didn't want duelists mirroring the Supreme King's vicious tactics. That is, until this card's release. Now, due to its ability to make evil heroes compatible with any fusion card, it also opens up an opportunity to use Super Polymerization in the deck. Speaking of, Super Polymerization, known in the Japanese as Super Fusion. Discard 1 card, fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from either field as fusion materials. Neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. Though of course not actually a part of the archetype, this card is tied with them in terms of lore thanks to the Supreme King. As in the anime, Yubel stated that the Super Polymerization card is the symbol of absolute power and control, so it seemed only fitting that it would be wielded by the Supreme King himself. It was created through sacrificing a handful of individuals that were overcome with very specific emotions at the times of their deaths: anger, hatred, doubt, anguish, and sadness. By merging these intense emotions together, the card Super Polymerization was born. Dark Fusion. Send from your hand or your side of the field to the graveyard the fusion material monsters that are listed on a Fiend type fusion monster card, then special summon that fusion monster from your extra deck. This special summon is treated as a fusion summon. The special summon monster cannot be targeted by the opponent's spells, traps, or card effects this turn. Now, I just want to throw a little bit of my personal opinion on Dark Fusion into the mix while we're here. I've actually never liked the artwork of this card. I always wanted something a little bit better for it, a kind of spin on on the design of polymerization instead. Something like Revoke Fusion, I've always felt like could have been a better artwork for Dark Fusion instead of what we got for this. But if you feel differently, that's absolutely fine. I'd love to know what you guys think of Dark Fusion's artwork. I don't know, there's just something about it, I don't think it fits. Dark Calling. Banish from your hand or your graveyard the fusion material monsters listed on a fusion monster card that can only be special summoned with Dark Fusion. Then special summon that monster from your extra deck. This special summon is treated as a fusion summon with Dark Fusion. And finally, Evil Mind. If you control a fiend monster, activate one of these effects based on the number of monsters in your opponent's graveyard. 1 or more, draw 1 card. 4 or more, add 1 hero monster or 1 Dark Fusion from your deck to your hand. 10 or more, add 1 polymerization spell or 1 fusion spell from your deck to your hand. You can only activate 1 Evil Mind per turn. And with that, guys, that is another Archetype video done. Let me know what you thought in the comment sections below. Do you think we need more evil hero support in the future? I still think we do. I still think we could get a couple more cards to this archetype to make it even better. Elemental Hero's got a lot. Give some evil heroes some love in the future. But before I go, I want to give a massive shout out to all my Patreon and YouTube supporters. Big shout out first and foremost to my platinum backers, yugioh97, J24092 and Terrence Harrod. Next, shout out to my gold and YouTube backers, Silver Defender, David Shanahan, Shogun, Goosey Q, Gyaku Gire Panda, Matthew Braithwaite, Chungming Zen, James Forge and Yudo. To all of you guys, thank you very much for supporting the channel. It helps keep the channel going and I really appreciate it. As well to my silver backers as well, thank you very much for supporting. Guys, hope you all enjoyed the video. Catch you later.